The tradition here is really important.
Being part of this isn't just something you see, it's something you feel.
It feels amazing to just have that opportunity to wear the jersey.
And to be a Golden High School Demon.
For me, it's a ton of tradition.
John Anderson has been the coach here for 14 years and remembers all those teams, those faces, those names.
Golden, we kind of pride ourselves on, having tough kids that will respond to some adversity and get after it, and Brad Lukeman was the epitome of that.
You see, being a Demon isn't just something you call yourself, it's how you play.
Brad Lukeman!
He was good. He was a great player, great Demon player, scrappy player.
For me, basketball was high school.
And for the 4 years Brad Lukeman played here, well, he was never alone.
Scotty was just always a fixture in our program.
The little brother who watched and learned from the big brother until he graduated.
A lot of people like to say he's sort of part of Golden basketball, and he's always dreamed of being a Demon. And
there you go, right at 7.
So when it came time to go to high school,
he's just melted right in.
There was no doubt where Scotty would go. The doubt was what he would do once he got here.
Yeah, I guess I kind of envisioned that probably ending when he got into the high school situation, that he would, be a manager or be probably involved somehow, but I really didn't envision him as a player.
But Coach Anderson did.
He would kind of, say, well, maybe he could be a manager and help out, and that's not what Scotty dreamed about on the sidelines there. I mean, he'd done that. He'd been a manager,
and he hadn't had the chance to do this until now.
Come on, Scotty!
A freshman on the freshman team.
Uniform's a big part of it for him.
Scotty waited 6 years for this.
I'm happy.
I don't believe in it's somebody's turn. Unless you earn it. Well, Scott Lukeman has earned it.
Not the tallest or the fastest, he does know what it means to be a team.
Everybody kind of comes together around Scott. He really brings us together.
But that doesn't mean he's not prepared. See that move? Remember it.
He definitely feels the excitement in that gym.
Yeah, way to go, Cole.
And as the end of the game nears, for the player who's waited so long, it's time.
Come on, Scotty!
You need to understand Scott Lukeman isn't on this team because of who his brother is or who the coach is. He's a Demon because of who he is, a basketball player.
A kid like Scotty makes everybody understand what sports is all about.
And for anyone who doubts what they saw, well, doubt no more.
Yeah!
6 years ago, Scott Lukeman had a dream of being like his big brother, of being a Demon.
I think what the biggest thing it does for him is he feels part of something.
Something that won't end here.
The dream is not to score a basket in a level 3 game. The complete dream is that he's going to play varsity someday and score. But this was just another first step in achieving that goal and that dream someday, and it was unbelievable.
Years from now, the tradition of the Golden High School Demons will still be here, and new students will learn about the teams and the names.
That is a name that is pretty important in Golden basketball.
And they'll learn what it means to be a Demon.
He's been one ever since he came into this gym, and he always will be one.
In Golden, this is Dave Delozier, 9 News.
From Colorado's news leader, this is 9 News at 5.
It was one of the greatest moments in Denver sports history, and a push is on now to see the Lombardi Trophy lifted right here in Denver. The Denver Broncos and the city of Denver have submitted a letter of interest to the NFL to host the Super Bowl in 2018. While Denver has never been seriously discussed as a host city, the landscape in the NFL is changing. 9 News reporter Dave Delozier joins us from Sports Authority Field at Mile High. And Dave, fear of our winter weather is what has kept Denver out of the running in the past.
It has, Mark. In the 46-year history of the Super Bowl, it has never been held at an outdoor venue where winter weather could be a factor. That, of course, will change in 2014 when MetLife Stadium in New Jersey plays host to the game. Now, Denver is trying to get into the conversation to host the game in 2018. The competition for that obviously will be stiff, but Denver is no stranger to that.
Broncos have time, but they need something out of this drive.
When it comes to going on the offense in what might seem like an uphill battle, well, Denver has some experience.
Now and the Broncos are 98 yards away from where they need to go.
Now for Denver to host the Super Bowl sometime after 2017, right now they're about 98 yards away, but they have some things to go on the offense with, starting with an air and ground game.
We have the 5th busiest airport in the nation, the 11th busiest in the entire world. So we can certainly get people in and out of Denver International Airport. In addition, we'll have the light rail running at that point.
Now to keep the drive alive, any Super Bowl contender must have a deep threat, the ability to go to the house. And Denver certainly has enough hotels to house this event.
Yeah, we have 43,000 hotel rooms in Denver right now. We also, by 2018, we could potentially have up to 45,000 considering the new hotel that's opening at the airport.
The city will also be able to move their Super Bowl drive with established practice facilities for both teams, including indoor facilities at Dove Valley and CU Boulder. And they can go on the hurry-up offense with an array of activities for tourists, including great restaurants and skiing.
Elway to pass on first down. The pass for Sewell. Got it and keeps it at the 48-yard line, and was he hammered.
And to deal with all the excitement, Denver has the facilities.
We have a great convention center, one of the top 10 in the nation. Just like what the NCAA Women's Final Four did, there could be a lot of parties and activities going on.
Which gets us to the red zone, and this is where things get a little bit tougher. While Denver has a state-of-the-art stadium that is as big or bigger than most Super Bowl venues, remember that the game is played in February. And some will be concerned about our weather.
February is one of our driest months. It's a big misnomer for Denver. People don't realize that we don't get a lot of snow in the city. We keep it in the mountains, which is where we kind of want it.
The snap to Elway. The look, the throw. Touchdown!
I remember that very clearly. I was in the end zone shooting that, as a matter of fact. Now, the NFL will likely announce the location for that 2018 game at their league meetings in May of 2014. Now, the city of Denver has submitted a letter of interest to host the game during any of 3 years, the 2018 game, the 2019 game, or the 2020 game. And, Mark, several of the folks that I spoke with today said that a lot will be riding on that game at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey on 2014. If it goes well at an outdoor venue in a winter climate, it could signal a green light for future ventures into that type of an environment.
It'd be something.
And Denver.
I know that you spent years in that end zone shooting those games, and now you're just a lowly news guy and you're stuck with Adele and I. Too bad for you.
Yeah, I do remember clearly that day in Cleveland.
I'll bet you do. Always great pictures. And now great journalism from Dave Delozier. Dave, thank you very much.
Every hole out here is a picture postcard.
In the shadows of towering sentinels are locked the story of a place and a time that came together to make history.
Back in those years, Wilshire was thought of as one of the fine public courses in the United States.
Land that a legendary architect crafted back in 1926.
Any Donald Ross course has a certain aura to it.
33 years later, in 1959, Wilshire would claim its own place in history when it hosted the USGA's National Public Links Championship.
It's been a long time ago.
A different time, a time when America and the golf world saw things in black and white.
They weren't thrilled about me doing anything.
Bill Wright was 23 years old and a very talented golfer who simply wanted to prove it at Wilshire. It wouldn't be easy. The Golf Association in his hometown of Seattle did everything they could to stop him.
They didn't want to get on the same plane with me.
It took a ruling by Washington's governor to clear the way. Bill Wright would get his chance.
I remember walking along and watching him play.
Dan Hogan is with the Colorado Golf Hall of Fame and remembers America in 1959.
Lots of unrest. Troubled times.
Unrest and trouble that for 1 week in Denver gave pause.
The galleries took to him and he was treated well by the people and became a big favorite by the time he won a couple of matches.
Maybe they sensed a change, or maybe they simply sensed they were watching history.
I can't explain it. It was wonderful. It was a good feeling.
And during one of Bill Wright's matches, he showed the golf world he had more than a game.
They were making noise while the other guy was putting.
So he stepped in and spoke up.
Thank you for pulling for me. At the same time, I want to beat him. I don't want you to beat him.
Bill Wright went on to win that match.
I remember almost everything that happened.
Then came the final match. It was down to this.
I was putting well.
Here, on the 16th hole at Wilshire,
I beat him 3-2.
The game of golf was forever changed.
Well, we were all happy. There's no question about that.
He made a real breakthrough. He meant a lot to amateur golf.
Now, 51 years later,
I still had that competitive spirit.
the man who caught history in Denver,
I still like to play golf.
still chases the golf ball at a course in Los Angeles.
There's been some big changes.
He's now a member of the PGA, an organization he couldn't join after winning in 1959. They still had a Caucasian-only rule until 1961. The game and the country began to change.
I think he had a lot to do with that, perhaps.
History remembers Bill Wright as the first African-American to ever win a USGA championship. But as he told a sports writer the day he won, for him, it was never about that.
And I told him this is not about anything but golf.
Years later, the memories of Wilshire are unchanged.
I remember number 18.
479 yards and 51 years that came together to make history.
It was very important in my life.
In Denver.
I'm happy that it happened in Denver.
This is Dave Delozier, 9 News.
Some people think it gets a little cold.
In the dead of winter.
It's usually 20, 30 below.
But this is Colorado.
A lot of ice fishing.
On a frozen lake, looking through a hole in the ice and trying to find hope.
A lot of them think you're crazy for going out on the ice, and a lot of them think that they'd rather do something in warm weather.
Something like golf.
Today is the ice golf tournament.
This started 12 years ago.
A bunch of guys sitting around the coffee table talking about it.
The talk turned into a 9-hole tournament for a handful of locals.
All right, that ain't no foul for that. This has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
So big, the course has grown to 36 holes for the more than 200 people who come from as far away as Louisiana.
Oh, yeah.
You see some crazy stuff out there.
Ice golf does have its differences. They don't mow these greens.
All right.
They plow them.
There's a no whining rule. You can't whine.
No wine, but a lot of...
Got a hold of the beer.
And I know that a well-tuned athlete has to remain hydrated.
And stay focused on simple goals.
Try not to drink too much and stay upright.
Whoa!
In golf, even ice golf, fashion matters.
There's a guy in shorts walking by, yeah.
Shorts not a bad idea now.
Oh, I know. I'm getting hot.
That's warmed up to 6.
Yeah.
Which is good because in past years, it was warmer.
We did have a water hazard over here one year. The water come up through the ice.
But this year, the greens are as smooth as a PGA Tour stop.
Come on, baby. Yeah!
But this is winter.
Woo!
And not everyone's in mid-season form.
See, I played golf 25 years ago.
But hey, 25 years, how much can you possibly forget in 25 years?
Whoa, cameraman! 4!
Apparently, a lot.
I think you got to throw common sense out the window and just kind of go with it.
They're as crazy as a fisherman.
Yo, no!
Because in the dead of winter, on a frozen lake, fun.
I guess it's what we make it.
In Walden.
Where'd it go? Oh.
This is Dave Delozier.
Only in North Park.
9 News.
Well, it's not just a day or two of training, it's every day.
Every day and every mile, Christina Schwab remembers.
I had plenty of people tell me that I can't. I think from birth, being born with spina bifida, there's a lot of questions actually. I don't know if you'll ever be able to do this.
When she was just 11, Christina wanted to play basketball, and she remembers.
But a lot of people around me said, you're not going to be able to do this, your legs don't work. And I was always out there to prove them wrong.
Christina not only became one of the best wheelchair basketball players in the country, she played on 3 U.S. women's Paralympic basketball teams and helped lead them to 2 gold medals.
It shocks me sometimes to think about where I've come from and where I'm going.
Where she is going is back to the Paralympic Games for the 4th time, but not to play basketball. 4 years ago, she started training for a new challenge to be the fastest wheelchair racer in the world.
I took this road because it was a challenge, something that people told me that maybe I couldn't do, that I wouldn't be able to do.
At the U.S. trials, Christina qualified to race in 4 events, everything from the 400-meter all the way up to the marathon. At the London Games, it will no longer be about proving skeptics to be right or wrong. It will be about an athlete, an elite athlete, competing for the colors.
I don't know if you can describe the feeling you get when you get to put on your uniform and you have USA across your chest. You almost have to immediately run to a mirror and look at yourself and be like, yes, I did this.
Maybe it is the validation that comes with winning 2 gold medals, or the knowledge that everything you set your mind to you've achieved, whatever the reason. Christina Schwab is no longer driven by the words of those that doubted her.
I try not to, actually. I try to just keep thinking forward, thinking positively, look at what I am doing, what I can do, what I can accomplish.
Christina Schwab has been competing her whole life. It is part of who she is. When these games end for the 4-time Paralympian, she may again hear the doubts that time is catching up with her. Given where she's been and where she's going, those doubters might want to speak quietly.
You know, you can never say this is it, I don't think.
In Denver, this is Dave Delozier, 9 News. History tends to remember the winners, the players or teams that win championships. This is the story of a team and a game that will be remembered long after the final score is forgotten. It is the story of a basketball player who waited 4 long years to get her shot.
We got a game, we got a big game.
It is the thing high school dreams are made of, to wear the jersey and all that comes with it.
Very close, very close.
One team with everyone getting a shot, everyone save for one.
I enjoy watching basketball. I enjoy being part of their practice, because I just used to be part of that. So
4 years ago, Kaylee McBeth had dreams too.
And it was a big goal to be on varsity.
A goal set for herself, but maybe more importantly for her father, Rod, who encouraged her to play, until one Friday night when everything changed.
We showed up at the game and there was no sign of the McBeths. And that's when we got the phone call that Rod had passed in his sleep.
Kaylee was just 14 years old.
The next coming days were very, very difficult.
Days made more difficult still when doctors discovered an inoperable tumor growing within Kaylee's heart.
When Kaylee first heard, she started crying in the office.
After losing her father, she was now losing the game he had encouraged her to play. Doctors said she could no longer play basketball.
And it was actually there in the hospital that I just said, hey, then you're going to be our manager.
Tape and water bottles replaced jump shots without a complaint.
I think it's because I get to spend time with the girls.
And there is no doubt of just how big a part of this team she is.
Our bench feeds off of Kaylee.
You got it, ladies! You can do it!
Still, this is not the view of the game she had dreamed of.
At points, I'm like, oh, I wish I could go out there.
Which got her teammates wondering, with one last home game remaining, couldn't she, for just a few minutes? And the doctors said yes.
I'm just excited to play and to make a shot.
And the 5'6" senior, number 4,
a senior playing her one and only game on Senior Day. Her story shared with everyone.
And this will mark a monumental occasion for her. She'll get a chance to play tonight to end up her senior year. She's been our manager ever since she was told she couldn't play.
On this night, they would all play for her.
Hey, Kaylee, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Kaylee, let's go.
There are no words to describe what this feels like when you wait 4 years and then late in the game, the wait is finally over.
It's just that taste of what she's been missing for 4 years, and it's about giving Kaylee another shot.
With less than 2 minutes left in the game, her only game, that shot finally comes. It doesn't go, nor does the next. With the game nearly over, Kaylee's last chance came from a place no one expected.
Then I thought, something's going on here.
I said we're going to try to put, I think, number 40 on the line and see if she can make a free throw.
And as soon as the ball went to Kaylee, turn and shoot. Good. And one of the girls kind of came up and delicately fouled her. Then I knew what he had done in the timeout.
56 seconds, one shot. It was down to this.
To see Kaylee make that shot, and then to see the first 2 people who congratulated her were Colorado Academy players. What could be better?
I just got chills, and it was just a good moment and something that I'll always remember.
Kaylee waited 4 long years to finally get her shot, but that one shot is one memory no one here is likely to forget.
That moment was bigger than the game.
At Faith Christian Academy.
It was fun. The best time in my life.
This is Dave Delozier, 9 News.
Twins often share a special bond. Aside from physical similarities, more often than not, what one does, the other does as well. 9 News reporter Dave Delozier has the story of twin boys who are so alike and yet so different.
The first day you have them, you're just like, wow.
Twin boys, Paul and Larry, so much alike.
They've been really close.
Twin boys, so much alike. But for Paul, there was something that was different.
And then we got the diagnosis that he had cerebral palsy.
Oh, it's heartbreaking. I thought it meant he would be stuck in a wheelchair.
So when it came time for Larry to follow his passion,
We got skates, and he went to the rink almost every day.
it meant Larry would spend time playing hockey. And Paul was left to watch.
I've always envied my brother when he played and I didn't. Let's go, Warriors! Let's score!
Twin boys so much alike and yet so different. The thing about differences, though, is sometimes it just means you need to find a different way.
He was immediately in love with the sport.
Each week, about 40 kids like Paul get to play the sport they love with the Colorado Sled Hockey Association.
The minute some of those kids get on the ice, it's instant smile.
The ice gives the same freedom to Paul that all kids feel.
One of the greatest feelings in life is to know that I'm able to jump out on the ice and play hockey when I want to.
He gets to be on the ice with his dad, who is also the coach, and maybe best of all, there's Larry, his twin brother, who helps out with the practice.
Just like having a brother who plays the same sport.
And at the end of the day, the two sports, just like the twin boys, are much more alike than they are different.
You know, sled hockey is hockey. I mean, it's the kids are out here playing hockey. It's, you know, you got to pass, you got to shoot, you got to skate. I mean, it's hockey.
And because the ice is the ice, sometimes this happens. It just helps you remember what brothers are for, sort of.
I've always dreamed of playing hockey on a stand-up team, and I've always dreamed of playing hockey anyway, and that just made my dream come true of playing hockey. Oh, what?
One dream of playing a game shared by two boys, twin boys. And if you want to see the differences, you certainly can. But you're looking right past what makes them twins.
Way more alike than we are different.
At the Ice Ranch, this is Dave Delozier, 9 News.
The Colorado Sled Hockey Association started in 2002 and has steadily grown. It has travel teams that will compete next month in a national tournament in Philadelphia. We have more information about the program posted at 9news.com.